Welcome to the Adventure Gran Canaria podcast, a show that explores the journey of expats who start a new life in Spain and Gran Canaria. I'm your host Sven von Scheidemann, and today's guest is Adriano Gasperi. Adriano is an Italian doctor who will talk about shrimps, roundabouts and renewable energies. This episode is brought to you by adventuregrancanaria.com, the go-to resource for expats, active travelers and nature lovers. If you're planning to move to Gran Canaria, sign up for the mini course where I tell you how to quadruple your chance of finding a job, how to overcome homesickness by finding your peeps, and how to be confident in speaking Spanish in no time. Plus, I show you step by step how to get your first important paperwork done. Now, here's Adriano. Good evening, Adriano. Nice for having you here.
Hi Sven, nice seeing you.
So, Adriano, tell us a bit about you. What's your home country, and most important, why did you move to Gran Canaria?
Well, your question is a bit confusing. You tell first talking about me and then about two countries. Separate issue. Not because I don't feel Italian. Well, I feel Italian, but I feel a very special relationship with Italy. I think that Italy is a beautiful country to be there on holiday and much more complicated to live in. That's why I'm here. And well, I decided to leave Italy a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Once I got my jubilation, I am a pensionato, a pensionista.
Pensionista en español, sí.
Pensionista. And I had my children have grown up. They can easily work now with their legs, with their feet. And I have five children.
Wow.
And
you were pretty productive.
Life has been very generous with me in many aspects, and maybe the most important one is that of children. And furthermore, a couple of them are living abroad and working abroad, one in Germany, another one in New York. And so I felt quite free to decide to find a place where to continue this beautiful story of my life. And Canaria was the decision. First of all, I was thinking to go back to Africa. I've been in Africa about 10 years during my life. I was thinking to go to Kenya, but then the situation there convinced me that it was not the case. So,
you mean the political situation?
Well, the security and political situation with with Somalia, another place where I've been living. So my brother told me that his sister-in-law was living here, whom, by the way, I knew, but I had forgotten totally. And so I decided to come down. I was here for just 1 week and decided that Canaria would have been my next home country. And since then, a few months later, I moved definitively to Canaria.
Very interesting. So you have never been before here for holidays or?
No, I just came 2 times for logistics reason to prepare my movement here.
Yes.
Yeah.
You mean all the paperwork and finding a home?
Bank account, just the few things you need when you start up your new life in a new place. So, yes, paperwork as well.
Were there any struggles or problems while planning your move to Gran Canaria?
Planning to move to Gran Canaria? No, I think maybe the only procedure, which was a bit too long, was with my Ministry of Health to get the papers needed to be registered here as a medical doctor. Despite being in Europe, I mean, there is still a lot of paperwork our administrators should do to make paperwork we need every time a bit simpler, you know, because it's still quite complicated.
Yeah, it's I think it's a bit more complex than just registering in the local office to be a local citizen here.
Well, to be a local citizen, I honestly I didn't have problems. Once I got my empadronamiento, things went on really on olive oil. It was really simple, and sometimes I listen to people who are, you know, very much squeezed by this procedure, but I don't know. I think I was lucky, or I met the right people, you know, in the office.
Yeah. So, how did you come to Gran Canaria? With a plane, with a car?
Well, when I moved, finally I came by car. Car, a small appendix, and full of few things of my life, and so I arrived here after a long journey, because I decided that in this journey from Italy to Canaria, I had to start a process of cleaning up my being, you know?
Yes.
It's a kind of, I don't know the right English word, it might be disincrustation, you know, when you have on your skin, you have some growing up of bad skin, you have to clean it up.
Yes, yes, yes.
And it was an internal process, but I think that this couple of weeks trip by car between Pavia, which I left in a very gray morning, arriving here in a beautiful sunny day, was very important to prepare to new life. Because really, I think that for me, living in Canaria is to have started a new life.
Yes. Yeah. So just to, you sent me up front a nice photo you shot when you arrived in with your car, with your bicycle up on the car. So if you want, I will post it later below the video to show the people how you arrived here.
Well, to be honest and frank, this was the third arrival, because the first one I had only the appendix, which was much fuller than the third one. The third arrival, because I have arrived 3 times by car. The same car, the same appendix, and the last time the bicycle as well.
Yes.
I like this trip from Canaria to Italy and back by car.
How long did it take?
It depends how long you want to. I can tell you the minimum. The minimum business would be 3 plus 2 days, 5 days.
Okay.
2 days by boat from here to Cadiz, and then in 3 days you can easily run the 2,000 kilometers from Cadiz to my hometown.
So one interesting question: let's say, what was the first time you did when you arrived in your home in Gran Canaria, in your first home?
Well, I must tell you a secret. I love shrimps. So even before discharging my car, I asked the tenant of the house to prepare me a plate of shrimps. She knew already because when I rented the house, I told her this aspect. And so the first thing I did coming to Gran Canaria was to eat the first lot of shrimps, just the beginning of a long story. Cholesterol might be higher here, but I don't care for the time being.
Yes.
So this was the first thing. Then, of course, starting knowing the place where I was, and at the beginning I was living in the south of the island, in a small, I called it a small Africa, you know, because it was really like a piece of Africa. Same colors, same, there was a banana plantation in my garden. And yes, I started walking around, driving around, and then slowly I get acquainted to the rules and regulation, as well as to the fines given by Guardia Civil. Rightly, I must say, rightly. They fined me once, and I hope it will be the last one.
So you're a fast driver?
No. Yeah. I was the fastest stupid because I was going on a provincial carretera, a provincial road, and I saw they were just behind me. And when I reached the place of my pleasure, which is a small beach, soon after Paloma Melonera, I entered the entrance of the beach, crossing the line. And so there was nobody in front of me, of course. They were there behind me, and they immediately stopped me. Well, I had stopped already in the parking area, and they told me, "Sir, Señor Caballero, 200 euro."
Wow.
And
that's a nice welcome present.
And 5 points from your license. 5 points, I don't know what was the end, because I still had an Italian license. So but the 200 euro, which became 100 because I paid within 30 days, was my contribution to Guardia Civil that day.
Very nice. So, in general, now you're living here in the capital, in Las Palmas, Gran Canaria.
Yeah.
So, how's the quality for you of living in the capital, or in Gran Canaria in general?
I think your question is right. For you, it means that for me, living here is like living in a pre-paradise.
Wow.
Well, but in the same time, I can tell you that among my friends, especially Italian friends, when they hear, especially Italian friends living in the south, when we talk about this topic, they tell me, you're poor, it's so cold in Gran Canaria, in North Gran Canaria, it's so cold, and I am astonished because I'm living here since May this year,
yes.
And of course, it is not the continuous hot climate that you have in Mas Palomas or in Playa del Inglés. It is not the beautiful climate that you have in Mogan, but nevertheless, it's a beautiful climate as well.
And it's not boring.
And it is not boring because you have, Las Palmas is a city, small, but you have, not you, I have all what I need. I have moving pictures, I have theaters if I like, music. And especially I have this atmosphere you can breathe on in Begeta, Triana, I feel at home. In one word, I feel at home in a place and in a situation which I cannot get in my natural home.
Very interesting. Because I, like I told you, I always thought that the Italian culture is similar to the Spanish one, but it does seem to be very different.
Um, you are right and wrong in the sense that the basic culture is the same. We come from Mediterranean area. We are used to some very special acts. For instance, when you greet people, we like to touch them,
Yes,
to have
yes, yes.
a physical contact. This is very common in southern Italy and here. On the other hand, for me, there is a difference which is basic. I found in Gran Canaria, I don't know about Peninsula, but I found in Gran Canaria something which is lost in Italy. And this something is respect. So this makes for me a terrible difference.
So you're talking about respect. So my question is, how does it feel to be a foreigner in Gran Canaria?
Honestly, I don't have the feeling to be foreigner here, unless in some circumstances. For instance, when I cannot explain correctly what I what I want to say or what I want to buy. But it has been fundamental for me to attend a course of Spanish language.
Yes.
When I arrived here, I didn't know the language. I speak as well Portuguese, and this was creating a mess in my mind because I was mixing up Italian and Portuguese, and I was not able to speak Spanish. So I told myself, okay, you are almost 70, but your brain is still working. Casi.
It's just a matter of concentration, I have the same trouble because
So,
my brain is already thinking in Spanish, and while I'm talking to you now in English, because so that a lot of
your
people
brain
will see it, I have to translate it into English.
Your brain is thinking in Spanish. No, I was telling something different. That my brain sometimes was mixing up in a terrible mess Portuguese words, Italian words, trying to speak my own Spanish, So I decided, Adriano, this is not the way. So cancel your knowledge of Spanish. You don't know anything. Go to a school. I went to school. The school was fully booked, so I was lucky to find a private teacher. And very honest. If I tell you how much I was paying for private lessons, you will not believe me. And we started twice a week. And after 6 months, when I knew already the difference between ser a star and between haver and tener,
Sí.
I decided to start talking. Sorry, there was the telephone.
Oh, no problem. Okay.
And I started talking. I started thinking that I was starting learning Spanish, and life became much easier.
Yeah, it's if you do speak you don't need to speak perfectly Spanish. If I know from my experience, if you do know a couple of words, the locals are more open, and they help you to find the right words without any problem with hands and feet, and it does work.
there is a kind of indicator that I use when I speak Spanish, and I look at the eyes of the person to whom I am talking to, and if the eyes comes out of the orbits, like a basilisk,
Yes.
it means that they don't understand what I mean. So this was very, very, very common at the beginning. Last time I had this experience, in fact, it was a patient with Basel. It was not my Spanish. He had outspoken eyes by himself. It was not he who was doing this symptom.
So, Adriano, is there one thing you really dislike in or about Gran Canaria?
Yes, there is one thing, and I experienced one of the first day I was driving my car in Gran Canaria. When you enter a roundabout,
yes,
and you are on the inside line, inside the part of the roundabout, pay attention to the one who is on your right side.
yes.
Because instead of going straight and not crossing you, in many occasions he will cross you. This, I think, is the one of the few reproach I can make to Canarians drivers. I have reproach for foreigners, very strong. For foreigners, bicycle riders, when they are on a public road in group, and they think to be running the Tour de France. They stay in group, they go at their own speed, they don't care. This, I think, is a kind of lack of respect
Yes.
for the drivers.
Yeah.
And this I don't like.
Also, the roads here are not very prepared for the Tour de France guys.
No, maybe not.
Very interesting. So, Adriano, well, you said already you lived many years outside your home country, but is there something special besides friends or family you're missing from your home country?
No, not at all. Not at all, because usually Italians miss food when they go, food and coffee.
Yeah.
With globalization, the coffee I have here is the same I can have in Italy. And foods, I've been for many years being a kind of food transporter. When I was going in a place and find a good food, I was taking it back to the place where I was living. I quitted this because now I think, and I am convinced, that a special food in a special place you have to eat when you are in that place. There is no sense to bring kimchi from Korea to here.
Yeah.
Or to Italy. I mean, you eat kimchi when you are in Korea. That's all.
So do you like the Canarian food?
Well, I like. I am almost vegetarian, so I don't like to eat the meat here. But Canarian food is perfect for me. Gofio, the salted version, I like very much. I don't like the sugar version.
Yeah.
Fish is good. No, I really, for food, I have no problems. I enjoy local food, and maybe sometimes they use too much sauce, and.
Yes.
But if you ask to put the fish on a barbecue and just barbecue it, it's okay. They do.
So you came here basically without knowing anybody. So basically alone.
Just knew this. My brother, sister-in-law. I knew since we were children, and then I lost her because I didn't see her for 30 years, and I met her again here. And but it is not difficult to find people here. I mean, I can. I have groups of friends. I have international friends, and I thank you for having been the how to say, the facilitator of this group of new people I met here. But I have groups of Canarians. I like trekking, so I have a group of trekking.
Yeah.
I have a group of biodancing, which is very interesting. I discovered it here, and I am enjoying a lot this activity. And then meeting people and exchanging telephone number is quite common here.
Can you explain our audience here a bit what biodance is in a couple of words?
Biodance, I think, is a kind of philosophy. It has been launched by a Chilean chap, and I think is present in almost all countries. The principle is that you leave your body responding to music. In almost 70 years of my life, I hated dancing. And this has been a cause of many problems with my partners, my female partners, because majority of women like dancing, I think. And always I've been set aside, and well, I didn't even wanted to go dancing because I felt unable to move the rhythm of music. So after just a couple of months ago, I decided, after the last experience with a woman who was dancing and I was not dancing, and so this was creating, of course, problems. I decided to, when she left me, not because of dancing, but in any case, I decided to not to go to school, but to see what biodancing was. So I was there in this group, about 20 people, and I started moving. And then the teacher told me that I was able to dance. Especially this happened with an African song, which I love. The name is Malaika. And when she put on this song, I started moving as I was seeing in my brain Kenyans were dancing. So, pushing the soil and doing very rhythmic movements with my arms and with the legs. And so at the end, Elena, who is the teacher, told me, but you're able to dance. You have done this music in the best way it can be done. So, of course, my ego was
yeah, I can imagine.
And now it happens that when I am in Triana, for instance, and I listen music, I start moving my body, and I am not ashamed, and I am really happy.
And you're just yourself and enjoying it.
Yeah.
Adriana, is there any advice you would like to give people who are planning to move to Gran Canaria?
Yes, I think, and I have only one advice, that which is not only for Gran Canaria. When you decide that your home is not your home country, and you move somewhere else, you should forget a lot your previous life was. I've seen here many people from all European countries I know, Italians, Germans, British, quite not unhappy because at the end maybe they are happy, but they are disturbed by some situations they find here because they cannot repeat here their home country life. I think this is a big mistake.
Absolutely.
When you find a new country, a new home, I think that you have to build up your new rules and regulations.
Yes. And I think it's not about that you have to change completely. It's just that you have to forget about some things you were used to in your home country, and some cultural things also.
Yes, it's like people who live here and tell in their home country that have quitted the country and don't tell here to the authorities here that they are living here. They are a kind of being. The Italian word is furbo. I don't know in English. It is not intelligent. It's just to get the best from one side and the other side.
Yes.
In terms of taxation and so on. So I think this is not correct. And when you move, and you take the bad and the good of the new place.
Yeah. Very, very, very interesting. So, Adriano, I have a bonus question.
Yes.
What's your favorite book and why?
Look, one of the things I have brought with me are books. And I read quite a lot. And to answer you is difficult because to tell you just one book,
but maybe a book that made a bigger impact in your life.
Yes, there is one book. Let me see whether I find it around. Where is it? No, I don't see it at the moment. Anyway, it's a book I wanted to see because usually I read many books and I don't remember the title of the writer. This one is written about the importance of network in changing the history of war. And if you give me just a second.
Of course, we have all the time you need.
My favorite book is written by a Belgian. His name is Gunther Pauli, and the book is called The Blue Economy.
Okay, what is it about? I mean, I do understand the word economy.
Blue economy. Blue is not the economy of the sea. It's a new way of considering nature. Usually, we are what we do is to exploit nature. No?
Yes.
Just make use of natural patrimony, resources. And then we read in newspapers every year that we have consumed the energy of that year. So the next will be a negative balance, the next month or weeks and so on. So this man, whom I know personally, and I've been working with him, says that nature should be copied, not destroyed. So what men should do, we should understand better what nature does and try and reproduce natural pathways and natural mechanisms. this is not just a philosophical position. He has created a group of about 3,000 scientists all over the world, and he has created a group of 500 or 600 NGOs who are working in the field. And I'm very happy to say that one of his projects, there are 100 projects going on in the world, one of his projects is here in Gran Canaria.
Oh, wow, interesting.
And is the energy project in the island of El Hierro.
Okay.
El Hierro is the first island in the world which is able to produce all the energy it needs without fossil oil.
Yeah.
The man behind the project in El Hierro is Gunther Pauli.
Very interesting. I didn't know the name. Yeah, very interesting.
And I tried to involve him, to invite him to work for Milano Expo. I've been working my previous life as Secretary General of the Scientific Committee of Expo Milano 2015, and I thought that this man could give a lot of support, but then the management of the operation didn't like my idea, and so he was not invited. Which, for me, having seen Expo, has been quite a pity.
You know, El Hierro, that should be a great example for Gran Canaria. Of course, the population in Gran Canaria is much, much higher than in El Hierro, but you know, changing changing from fossil energies to renewable, it should be a goal also for Gran Canaria.
Yeah, but you know that behind this talk we are just carrying on now, there is a war, no, between oil producers and
of course the electricity companies. Yeah.
It's quite evident. Yes. We have technology, as always happens in life. Technology comes first. Then you need political advice, and you need that people accept technology. No?
Yes. Very nice. So I will put a link to the book below the video. So if people are interested, they can buy it. Maybe I will find it on Amazon.
Yes, look for zero. The keyword to get in touch with Gunther Pauli is zero.
Yes.
ZERO, which is the name of the organization that he has created for this very innovative idea.
Yeah. So Adriano, it was very, very nice to talk to you. It was very interesting. Do you want to add one last thing for the audience?
What I would like to say is that the way we are working nowadays is beautiful. I mean, I just via Skype or other means, I've been published a book with a friend who was in Italy, and we have been working every day on this book. And there are two problems. One is that I think that even if we can work, we can discuss, we can do things, we cannot look straight on in our eyes when we are using this technology. Right. The second thing is we cannot drink a beer together. Well, you can drink a beer at home and I here, but we cannot share the pleasure of drinking a beer together.
Right.
That's all. And thank you for chatting with me.
Thank you for your time. It was very interesting. So have a good evening. I'm listening to the sound of the shore in your background. So it seems you're living right next to the ocean.
I'm just living in front of the ocean, and this is the real richness I have now in Gran Canaria.
Very, very great. So, Adriano, have a nice evening. Thanks for taking part in this interview and for responding to my questions. And hope to see you soon.
Me too, with a beer. Ciao.
With a beer, of course. Thank you. Bye bye.